Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is part 2 of 3 of the Kitty Litter Taj Mahal litter box house. And it's going to change its name every time until I find one I like. In this episode, we're going to be putting these boards on a diet to help with shipping costs with the weight. We are also going to rough assemble the box, and we will build the door and the half wall. In the next episode, it will be sanding and finishing and all the good fun stuff. All right, let's get to it. After talking it over with the customer, we came to the conclusion that the best way to go about assembling this to make it easier on their end is to use biscuits for alignment and screws to secure it. Here I am marking where I want them and using the jointer to put them in. This machine works in all sorts of angles. The biscuits also help with stability in keeping the boards square to each other. Here's the first fit up of the top. Okay, so while that was together, I took some accurate measurements so we could get a better fitting back. I went ahead and cut these out for the back, and then this will be the center vertical section. I'm going to go ahead and get these milled up, and we'll check back in later. Well, I just got done milling up these boards, and they look really nice. This is why I like cherry so much. It's really easy to work with, and it's beautiful. Okay, so this is going to be the back, and I need to biscuit joint these and glue it up. But before I did that, I wanted to show you why we do what we do and why we offset these. Sometimes after you mill the wood, it's not always perfectly flat. A rock, and that helps line that up. So yeah, I'll get that done, and more epoxy to be poured. That's okay. In this shot, I wanted to show how square it was and how much flatter the boards were to each other in the dry fit up before the glue. So I've had the weekend to think this over, and I think that we're going to reduce the weights in these boards a little bit to help with the customer with shipping costs. They do weigh a bit. So we're going to do a little before and after weight, see how much we save. The top and bottoms. 13 pounds right now. And the sides. Are 7. So I think we're gonna throw it up on the machine and mill some weight off of these. But first we need to sand the back so it's a little easier to finish sand. This is a 4-inch belt sander that I'm using to try to smooth and flatten the boards before they go onto the router. The flatter the boards are, the more consistent the cuts will be on the router. You want to keep these as flat to the boards as you can and don't dwell in one spot for too long. A hand plane works well to knock off any dried glue that's squeezed out from clamping. Trying to sand the glue just makes a sticky mess from the heat of the friction of the sander. Off to the router. For the most accurate cuts and best outcome, we make sure the board is flat, straight, square, and parallel to the machine before clamping it down to the table. The T-track table makes short work of this. Ending center with a 60-degree V-bit. And chucking up the bowl and tray cutter. This has a 1/4-inch radius, so it leaves a nice rounded inside edge on the pockets we'll be cutting. That block of aluminum helps us find the top of our boards to find our Z-axis 0 starting point. And off we go. Okay, now that that's complete, let's give it away. 5 pounds now. We lost 2 pounds. We'll be using the same 60-degree V-bit for some engraving. Alright, well here's the bottom done. As you can probably see, we hit every single biscuit pocket in this board. So that was a little oversight on my part. We'll have to try to fix that somehow. Some instructions for assembly. Turned out pretty crisp. And branding. Let's get this off here, see what it weighs now. Alright, here we are for our weigh-in. Let's see what we got. Just under 10 pounds. So we did shed some weight. So here we are. I think we're gonna start trying to assemble this thing while we're waiting for the other pieces to be machined out. So I have these 90-degree clamps on here trying to hold this up, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. I think we're gonna take this guy, rip him in half, and start using that. in the corners, screw them together. This is currently at, can't really see that. It's 2 1/4, just under 1. So we'll rip it down to 1 inch each and put them on either side. I ripped that cut off on the bandsaw and cut it down to length with the chop saw. Here I am marking where I want the screw holes to land. Pre-drilling the pilot holes helps the wood from cracking or splitting when driving the screw into it. We are also countersinking these holes to have the head of the screw sit flush with the board. Drill bit left some burrs on the backside, and I'm sanding them down for better contact. I flipped the box over to make it easier for myself to do the top side. So we have our center partition in, all mocked up. It's not screwed in or glued in or anything, it's just sitting there. I wanted to get some measurements for the doors. We have this equidistant, end up being 15 and 5/32-ish. And we're gonna make it a little big so we can trim it down. We'll probably have like a 1/16 inch gap around the door. And then for the half wall in here, it's about 20 and a half. I'm gonna get that wood milled up and get it mocked up. So here are the half walls. I'm gonna go ahead and biscuit them together and glue them up. I'm gonna figure out how to clamp them. Well, this is what I came up with. We'll see how well it turns out. Looks like it's nice and straight. Well, that's drying, and the door is drying. I think we're gonna go ahead and take these out and put a nice 45 or 50 degree angle on there. It's not so blocky. Don't catch on it. Show you how it's done. Onto the half wall. I'm measuring out where it is to go and squaring it out with a combination square. I ended up using more of that cutoff to make mounts for the wall. The back side gets screwed in from the back, and the front is screwed in from the bottom up into the top board. I'm trying to use as few seam screws as I can to help make a cleaner appearance. Alright, well I think this is going to conclude part number 2. We'll leave mounting the door for part number 3. I'll have to buy some hinges and some other hardware. I think we might put some leveling feet on this, so that'll be interesting. I'll walk you through that. And if you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned for part 3. Thank you.